Earlier in the show, we spoke to California Senator Marty Block about the controversial childhood vaccine bill called SB 277. If it passes, it removes the personal and religious exemptions that parents can cite to opt out or delay childhood vaccines. Well, now we have the other side this morning. Dr. Brian Stenzler is here from the California Chiropractic Association, along with concerned mother Rebecca Eastep, who says her son was injured by getting a vaccine. Thank you both for joining us this morning. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us, Heather.
Dr. Stenzler, let me start with you. A lot of parents are going to say, why are you sitting there from the California Chiropractors Association speaking on this, not a pediatrician?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of chiropractors themselves get into chiropractic because they themselves choose to have a natural lifestyle, to avoid drugs and surgery when possible. So when patients come to our offices, they want a natural option for health care. So when it comes to things like vaccines, yes, there are a lot of chiropractors that vaccinate their children. There are some that do not as well. And so the parents that come and see us, they're not just leaving their kids vulnerable. They're making sure their kids are, having a fully functioning nervous system. They're eating good food. They're exercising. They're seeing acupuncturists, naturopathic doctors. They're doing a lot of natural things in their lives so that they can build immunity as best as they can for those vaccinations in particular that they may choose not to take, if any at all.
Now let's talk about what just happened earlier this year. A good-sized measles outbreak in the state of California linked back to Disneyland. A lot of people said that some of the people who contracted the measles and then spread it were not vaccinated. If more and more people are vaccinated, these types of diseases, which were once almost wiped out, would not be making the comeback that they are. That's why this bill is being put into place. Can you speak on behalf of that?
Yeah, this is a great question, Heather. First of all, there's more myths about the Disneyland outbreak than there are mythical creatures in Disneyland. Of the 134 that received the measles after the outbreak, 78 of those were actually vaccinated, and more than half of them are over the age of 20. So by changing the whole PBE thing and reducing school allotments for these students is not going to affect what would have happened at Disneyland. So we just have to understand that they're trying to solve a problem that actually does not exist. Senator Pan, when he was an assembly member, had AB 2109, which is in effect, and after just 1 year, decreased the PBEs by almost 20%, which is quite significant of a victory.
And tell folks what the PBE is.
The PBE is the personal belief exemption. What happens is there's an opportunity in California to choose to not vaccinate or to selectively vaccinate based on a philosophical or religious belief. And so there are many parents that vaccinate their child with 10 or 9 of the vaccines, but maybe they choose not to give one, like hepatitis B, because it's mostly a sexually transmitted disease. So if they choose not to give that one particular vaccine, they get lumped in that same 2.54% of unvaccinated, but really what they are is undervaccinated. Whether it's one vaccine or 10 vaccines that they choose not to give, they're looped in there. So really unvaccinated is maybe 1%.
Rebecca, I want to bring you in on this conversation as well. Parents argue in support of this bill that unvaccinated children put their vaccinated child at risk. They're frustrated with this and they don't want those kids in their child's classroom.
I think that what parents don't understand is that vaccines don't work all the time, and I know that that's part of the argument where they want our kids to be vaccinated. But my son was fully vaccinated, had no titers whatsoever. So we could vaccinate him all day, and all it would do was injure him and not protect their child. We have instances actually in San Diego in a ship where it was 100% of the sailors were vaccinated for the flu. They broke out with the strain of flu that they were vaccinated for. So these products are not perfect, and to mandate an imperfect product that's unavoidably unsafe and has complete liability protection is un-American. It's not right. These things should not be mandated.
But these parents now, according to the changes in this bill, have an option to homeschool their child, so that doesn't mean your child cannot get an education. It just falls more back on the parent to find the right outlet for it, since they will not be allowed in public school. They're not saying your kid cannot go to school, you just can't go to public or private school.
Well, one of the senators brought up, and she ultimately voted no, that she just thought that was too restrictive. If you're a single parent, how are you going to do this? If you're a dual income parent, how are you going to homeschool? Also, a lot of the kids that have these PBEs are special education students. A lot of them do have autism, like my son. He has, in his IEP, socialization goals. I can't have him, join a campus club at my homeschool because that won't work. And then
because he's not fully vaccinated.
Right, because he's not fully vaccinated. If I can't send him to school, so in that case, this law will be be denying my son a free and appropriate public education. That's FAPE. There are so many problems with this bill that are going to have to be worked out, and I think it's going to be in the courts. I think the state's going to be losing money because lots of kids are just going to have to opt out of the public school, and I think this will be in the courts for years. And like Dr. Stenzler said, there really isn't a problem. AB 2109, when it was implemented in 2014, personal belief exemptions are down 20%.
They're down 20%. That cannot be disputed, and now
yes.
it requires a doctor's signature in order to,
right.
to do that.
And so we have a system that's working to address this problem. But going to this draconian bill, like Senator Block said, is wrong.
Is wrong. Okay. Well, thank you both for your time this morning. We are flat out of time. I want to let folks know at home that if you missed the interview with Senator Block that happened earlier in the show today, we'll put that interview plus this interview on our website for later today. Thank you both for coming in this morning. Please come back because I know that this is not going away anytime soon.
Thank you, Heather. We'll be here.
All right. We appreciate it.